Give everybody just a second to come on into the stream where we are, of course, on all platforms. Tom, you know, X, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get these podcasts, we got you. And who are we? Well, we are MHI. Good evening, Broncos country. Luke Patterson and Thomas Hall here every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain, where we chop up the Denver Broncos, who, Tom, are on a 10-game win streak, swept the Las Vegas Raiders 2 years in a row. I'm here for it, baby. Let's go.
I love it. Anytime you sweep the Raiders, that's great in my book. They just got to finish taking care of business. I mean, they are primed. They're in a prime of the last four on their schedule. That's the toughest stretch, really. But if you go back, I went back and I looked at it. There are only 6 teams in Broncos history who, after 13 games, had 11 or more wins. That's pretty good company, no matter what they say about the schedule. And if they win this next one, there's only 3. They'd be the 4th team to have 12 wins in 14 games. So, I mean, this is the stretch where they can, put themselves kind of in Broncos history, really.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time to be a member of Broncos country, right? And 11-2. They're not only first place in the AFC West, but they're first place in the AFC. They're a 10-game winning streak. They're undefeated at home, coming home. Speaking of home, coming home after 2 straight road games, Tom. So a big homecoming for the Denver Broncos, who are going to be playing the Green Bay Packers, a playoff caliber team in their own right. Very worthy and familiar NFC opponent throughout the years for Denver Broncos and Broncos country. It's also this game we're going to get into. It's returning off of IR. At least the practice window is opening. We've got a good practice report in terms of injuries. But before we get into any of that, I think it's important to know the Broncos are 2.5-point home underdogs this week, Tom. And you're giving a little piece of history. Mike Kliss brought this up, so give credit to where credit's due. It's the first time in the Super Bowl era that a team with both a 10-game win streak and a 10-game home win streak has ever been an underdog at home. What is it about these Green Bay Packers and the Broncos, the 2.5-point dink, at least at home?
Well, number one, it has to do with, I keep saying, underdogs' popularity. People are buying into this thing that the Broncos aren't very good because they haven't had a tough schedule, and Bo Nix hasn't played that well. They're buying into it. That's what's happening. The lines, it's the way that people bet. But I'll tell you, the one thing there's 2 things that bother me. I'm only going to tell you one about the Green Bay Packers, and that's Josh Jacobs, man. Every time he has played against the Broncos, he has just steamrolled them. So that does give me pause, but it doesn't make me say that they should be underdogs at home. I think their record is now 13-0, 13 straight at home in the regular season, or 12. I can't remember which is a pretty long stretch.
Yeah, man, it's I think it's interesting. I think it's some of the Sean Payton effect. Call me crazy. The league doesn't like this Denver Broncos team for whatever the reason. All right. I mean, whether it's Bo Nix, whether it's Sean Payton, and they're both cut from the same cloth too. I like that. I think that we're starting to see some of Bo's personality coming out a little bit. And I see David Yonkin weighing in 9891. One of our very first good dear friend of the show. Thank you very much for the $9.99 over on YouTube. I see Bo Nix clap back at reporters asking him what does he think about being called a game manager. He gives the perfect answer. We're all game managers, just some do it better than others. That's what I'm talking about, David. And that's what I'm talking about. You're starting to see some of the spice come out with Bo Nix a little bit. I'm not going to call it arrogance. I'm not going to call it overconfidence, but let's hear from the Broncos quarterback himself.
Yeah, you're right. It's it's become a negative thing. I don't know why, because the best quarterbacks of all time manage the game at a high level. I think the biggest difference is when the time comes down to it, they just find ways to make either an explosive or make another play. So, all the good ones, all the great ones that win, they manage the game at a high level. Now, some are just more flashy, and I think they don't have that, that context or that tag. But it really doesn't matter because, your job as a quarterback, execute the play that's called, get your team in the end zone, and at the end of the day, have more points than the other team and find a way to win.
Boom. And you know what I instantly think about when Bo Nix is up there and he's kind of giving that PC answer, which is what he's doing, right? He's not burying the reporter who gave that question. He could have, right? You're going to ask me, an NFL quarterback, about what being a game manager is. Hell, isn't that the reason Phillip Rivers is back in the NFL, Tom? Because the man can manage a football game. That's what we're looking at here. You're looking at all this arm talent. You're looking at all this junk in the free agency, but none of it amounts to squat unless you know the game. David's on to something.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously people have used it as a negative, but I mean, the thing about Bo Nix should be a game manager. He should manage the game within Sean Payton's system. I don't care about flash. Pat Mahomes is super flashy, but you know what? He's done his third year in a row where he's been an average quarterback, and this is probably going to be his worst season as a starter. But people they love the flash, and he's still riding on that reputation. Bo Nix, I don't care if he's got a reputation for being a game manager or not a great quarterback. He's winning football games, and that's what matters. And that's what matters in the end. If they're the last one to win a game, no matter what the quarterback looks like, they're Super Bowl champs.
Well, listen, for everybody that loves stats, and I know people are getting into fantasy football playoffs and everything, you look at both stats, they're not that bad, especially the biggest stat of them all, 11-2. I don't know. I take that one above pretty much everything else. Then you look at a 63% completion percentage, almost 3,000 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, the 9 interceptions. People are going to get after him for 6.3 yards per attempt or whatever we got to say. That's Sean Payton subbing out the run game. He tells us this every single day, right? Like sometimes these short passes, look, these short passes can translate to run game. And it's like, not really. Can we just run north and south? Something I wish we saw a little bit more out of Harvey, because Bo Nix took a beating last week, Tom. I mean, he really did. He's been pretty healthy for the most of the season, but when you're looking at what the Raiders did, they got after him a little bit, and I don't need that. I don't need Bo Nix taking sacks. If he needs to manage the game, if he needs to protect himself, then let's do it.
Yeah, well, protect himself, number one, because they're going to need him through the playoffs. So let's not get hurt, knock on wood. Let's make sure he does not getting any big shots. I don't care if he's out there running. I mean, they can win this. They can win these games without him being a running quarterback. Have him drop back, throw. I would like to see the running game produce more. I'm really kind of out on Bidet. I don't find him to be anything special. He's cost them a few times. McLaughlin's I want RJ Harvey to take the load, but I wish they would go out and I wish they would have went out and tried to find somebody sooner, somebody for that running game a little bit sooner. But RJ Harvey had a nice game last week. It wasn't spectacular, but it was nice.
I don't know, even if the Broncos found name your favorite running back off the street or traded for him, that it would have made that much a difference, Tom, because Sean is still showing such a reluctancy to just run the football when it matters, right? And when does it matter? It matters on first and second down a lot more than it matters on third, coach. And we can get away with some things, and I like Adam Prentice just as much as the next guy. But look, the Broncos offensive line, they surrendered 3 sacks and 6 quarterback hits to Bo Nix. Now, Bo Nix is definitely responsible for some of those, but how are you going to clean up a performance after preparing for Max Crosby when you've got a guy named Micah Parsons against Green Bay? And I know Bo was asked about Micah today too. It's just that 3-headed monster, Tom, out there in Green Bay. Micah Parsons, Josh Jacobs, and we can get into some Jordan Love. But David coming in here as well, an exclusive member of the MHH community, wishing Broncos country a very Merry Christmas. Hashtag 13 and 4. Green go Bo Nix. I almost said Green Bay Nix. Tom, we were in the building with the MHH meet and greet the last time the Packers were in the house to play the Broncos. Yep. It was a rough outing. We were both very frustrated. The Broncos ultimately walked away with the dub. What do you instantly think of when I say Green Bay versus Denver?
Super Bowl 32 is what I think of every time. It doesn't matter what happens in regular season, man. Super Bowl 32, that was the sweetest victory of any victory in Broncos history, in my opinion. So that's immediately what I think about. I think about Mobley knocking down that 4th down Brett Favre pass, and the Broncos are walking away winners.
It's a special rivalry between two historic fan bases, obviously Green Bay and Titletown, right? Professional football doesn't happen without the Green Bay Packers, and I fully acknowledge that. Although it's been a little while since the Green Bay Packers have won in Denver, Tom, since 2007. That was the last time the Broncos picked up a dub. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers was quarterbacking back then. But Green Bay travels well. That's one thing I remember. Scott remembers, Broncos country remembers well at that specific MHH meet and greet just 2 years ago. Those damn yellow flags are going to be everywhere. And Green Bay is definitely a good team. They're a playoff team. They've got not a 9-3-1 record. They're on a little 4-game win streak of their own, I believe. But they've got the Chicago Bears nipping at their heels, right? In their division, it's sitting at 9-4. The Broncos want to continue to possess and maintain that number one spot in the AFC. Something I asked Chad about last week on these airwaves, right? Like, I'm so sick of hearing about Drake May. I'm so sick of hearing about the New England Patriots. They're winning games. Yes, they're on a winning streak as well. But Tom, to me, it feels like New England is just 1 year away from where Denver is here. Denver has continuity with the quarterback, with the head coach. The defense is historic. They're humming. Fourth quarter comebacks. You don't see a lot of fourth quarter comebacks with the New England Patriots. I don't know, Tom. This is call me crazy, another must-win game for the Denver Broncos sitting at 11-2. You can't lose one at home ever, but especially to the Green Bay Packers, Tom.
Well, what I will say is if they do have to drop a game, this is the one to drop it. And I don't want them to lose another game, but when it comes to tiebreakers of the conference record, you lose to an NFC team, that you're still sitting okay as long as you can take care of business with the remaining 3. The Patriots have 4 remaining conference games, so Broncos can't afford to drop any of those AFC games for sure. I'd like to see them win out. I'd like to see them have the most wins in the history of the Broncos at 15 wins if they can win them all. But, I'm not expecting that. But the nice thing is they're 3 at home, 1 away. They've been playing great at home. They've been taking care of business at home. That gives them an edge. I'm not afraid of New England. I just think you're right. They're one year away. They got a good quarterback. They've had a really, really pretty easy schedule for the most part. And their division is pretty crummy, where the AFC West is not.
When you look at their schedule too, right? And their schedule gets a little tougher when you look at New England, at least for the next couple games, in my opinion. And guys, it's been a crazy ride for the Denver Broncos this season, right? It's crazy. We're already sitting here December 10th. It's holiday season. And guys, amid such a wild season, we know how much it's taken a toll on all of us mentally. Seriously, right? Taking care of your mental health shouldn't be harder than taking care of your physical health when you think about it. If you pull a muscle or suddenly your back starts aching, you go and see a doctor. But when it comes to finding the right therapist, suddenly it's frustrating. You're dealing with long waiting lists, or you have to confront huge out-of-pocket costs. Any one of these factors can stop people from getting the help that they need.
That's where Rula comes in. Rula makes it simple, affordable, and fast. They work with most major insurance plans, and the average session copay is just $15. That's right, $15. That's basically the cost of lunch, but instead of a sandwich, you're investing in your own headspace.
And listen, guys, with Rula, you're not just matched with a therapist left to figure it out. They check in to make sure that you're actually making progress. Every therapist on this platform is licensed, vetted, and picked for their expertise. So you know that you're talking to someone legit, not just whoever happens to be available.
Getting started couldn't be easier. You answer a few quick questions about what matters to you, and Rula connects you with in-network providers who actually fit your needs. You pick the time, and you could be talking to a therapist as soon as the next day. No weeks of waiting, no endless back and forth. Bottom line, if you've been putting this off, Rula takes away the excuses. Simple, affordable, and actually built to help you get better.
Boom, guys. Thousands have already used Rula to finally get the care that they need. Don't keep putting it off. Go to rula.com/mile high and get started today. That's RULA.com/mile high. Take the first step, get connected, and take control of your mental health. Boom, boom, boom. Broncos country. It's MHI. It's Wednesday night. Thomas Hall and yours truly breaking down some Vegas Raiders leftovers, getting you ready for the Green Bay Packers. Had some hot and heavy news coming out of Broncos country today, Tom. It's been a little while since we've heard this name. Left guard Ben Powers is returning to practice, baby. Let's go.
I'm excited. I mean, I love Palczewski. You know that. I've been talking about him since he was an undrafted rookie free agent coming into training camp. But Powers is an upgrade, and there's no doubt about it. Palczewski has been admirable starting there, but I like him coming off the bench. I like him in those jumbo packages when they need that extra lineman, and Ben Powers, I want him back in the lineup because it's going to help. It's going to help this team. And, they're getting healthy. The only starter that won't be, in the lineup for the foreseeable future, most likely is J.K. Dobbins, but everybody else is getting healthy at the right time.
Well, and who am I to question anyone's health with the Denver Broncos? I remember panicking about Pat Surtain, right? Thinking, oh no, we're losing our best guy. What's going to happen? They wrote it out. J.K. Dobbins, that seems like a stretch to me, if I'm being honest, to get J.K. back. But look, man, when I look at this, it's nice that the 21-day practice window has opened. It's nice to see the big guy on the report, but it's extremely doubtful, right, that he's going to be coming back against the Green Bay Packers. People are saying, folks that I trust at least over there out of the building, over on X, I think it's going to be really tough for Ben Powers to come back in from a bicep injury. You kind of need those, especially at the left guard position. And you're looking at a Green Bay Packers defense that's coming in here who is a very formidable threat. It's not just Micah Parsons. The Broncos O-line, they're struggling just a little bit coming back from Las Vegas, right? How do they bounce back? I'm excited to see Ben Powers come back, but I just don't think it's going to be against Green Bay, Tom. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Well, and that has a lot to do with not just him healing up from the injury. He's probably fully healed. He has been out for a lot longer than just 4 weeks, like most of them coming back right away.
It's week 5.
He's been out for quite a while. He's probably needs some time to get reacclimated. So you may not see him come in on Thursday, but you're going to see him probably in the last 3 games. I would imagine they're going to get him ready to start coming up for the Jaguars game.
I got to give our guy a little bit of love. It's been years. Ernie's trolling us right now. Micah Parsons is a soft and boring player. I wish that were true, Ernie. I truly do, because, I worry, Tom. For years, I've said Max Crosby keeps me up at night. I usually don't have to worry about Micah Parsons, right? NFC opponents. Dallas Cowboys trade him. Obviously, he's in his first year in the green and yellow. And I think it was interesting to see Matt LaFleur, his head coach, out there screaming, hooting, and hollering about him getting held all game. Didn't get a sack against the Chicago Bears last week. He's going to be coming for Bo Nix, right? He's going to be trying to get 10 to the turf. And I think Sean Payton knows that. We are starting to see some of these little mic'd up moments, at least with the Broncos. I don't know if you got to see any on the internet, but it's kind of cool hearing Sean talk to Max Crosby about like his plays and when he's trying to call specific plays and giving Max his due. It's also cool to see Courtland and Bo get after Sean a little bit, right? With the little got him moment from Bo Nix and Courtland Sutton, with a little exchange from their head coach. You could see the little twinkle in their eye, right? Taking a little dig at their head coach, all in fun jest. I don't know, Tom. It feels like something special is truly brewing with this Broncos team. And that's not to say that if they lost another one, right, that the world wouldn't be falling and we wouldn't all overreact just a little bit. But I can't help but feel blessed in this holiday season that the Broncos are 11-2, and it's been such a fun ride.
Yeah, and I really want them playing till the last game. I don't want them to be like, oh, last game of the season, we can rest everybody. I want them prime, because that's how they've been all year. They have been fighting and scrapping all year, and that's how they've won a lot of those games. I want them to go in the playoffs kind of fighting and scrapping to make sure they get that number 1 seed. I really hope that it kind of comes down to the wire. It would be nice to rest some folks and get them ready for the playoffs, but for this team, for me, you're right. I think it's a special team. I think they have character. I think they built a really talented team, but I still think they've got to keep that fire going. They can't sit back and be like, yeah, we're the number 1 seed. We're going to walk in there. I think they need that kind of that little bit of an attitude going in still to really go deep.
No, 100%. And look, talking about a formidable threat from Micah Parsons in this Green Bay defense, you brought this name up earlier, and it's not something we should just gloss over. Josh Jacobs, as Chad would say, is the straw that stirs Green Bay's drink. When you look at this offense, when you look at how Matt LaFleur calls plays, when you look at Jordan Love, how he distributes the football, it is all based around Josh Jacobs, who can also catch the ball a little bit, right? Can also be utilized out of the backfield a lot like Quadzilla, our own RJ Harvey right now. Only difference, Josh Jacobs is obviously accomplished, has some pelts on the wall. I'm real curious to see what the game plan is for this Broncos defense, because you have to immediately extinguish this man in Josh Jacobs on the run game. It's something I preview a little bit. One of my keys to victory coming out at milehighhuddle.com tomorrow. But Vance Joseph knows who he's facing, right? I mean, this is a familiar opponent, as you mentioned. How did the Broncos get to Josh Jacobs?
Well, they got to keep playing like they have been. I mean, they have been playing solid. They have been playing solid, I should say, extra solid run defense since that Colts game. I mean, they've figured out how to stop the run, and they're doing it. I think it's this what they've been doing. Just keep doing more of the same. Get that run game shut down. And Love can beat you with his arm, but if you can rat him a little bit, sometimes he's turnover prone. So
yeah, what's your opinion? Real quick on Jordan Love. What do you make of Jordan Love, Tom? I don't think we've ever really had that conversation just because it's been a while since the Packers and the Broncos have squared off, and it's been relatively small sample size for Jordan Love. What do you think?
I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he has it put all together yet. I mean, you can say that about some of the greatest quarterbacks that, are in the Hall of Fame too. It took him a while to kind of put it together. I mean, John Elway was one of them. Ultra talented. It took him a little while to put it all together. And I think Jordan Love is talented. I think he's got to figure it out, put it all together. I know his third year or fourth year starting? I mean, it's going to be time over the next couple of years for him to do that. But I actually think he's talented, and I like him as a quarterback. Obviously, not when he's playing the Broncos, but I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he'll put it together and be one of the top guys in the league for the next few years.
Yeah, it's not all that much different than Bo Nix when you look at his total stats, right? I mean, the team record's pretty close. Completion percentage is close. Yards, touchdowns, interceptions. Bo's got 5 more. But I don't know. It's just I wonder if Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur fit. Maybe that's where I'm at with Jordan Love, because I don't want to go after him and be like, oh, he's a bad quarterback. I don't think he is. I'm still, the jury's still out for me. And then but it's the same thing with the head coach, the play caller, right? Like, can we definitively say that Jordan Love's the problem if Green Bay starts losing football games? Maybe. Could you say the same thing about the play caller? Perhaps. These two are one and the same, right? And when and who and how these quarterbacks are chosen, and did the GM pick them? Did the head coach have something to do with it, right? All these things come into play a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I feel, at least for now, Sean and Bo have something special going on. I can't wait to see what happens against the Green Bay Packers. George Fox weighing in over on Facebook. Josh Jacobs has been a Bronco killer for years as a Raider, but I think we win. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Yeah, man, that's Josh Jacobs. He has gotten after Vance Joseph in the past, something that Tom definitely referenced. And you're right, George. You got to wrap this guy up. He's a physical runner. He's an Alabama guy. That's how they all are, right? You got to wrap this guy up. You cannot let the run game get going. Let's start early and let's start fast with shutting this down. And I'm talking about Zach Allen, right? So what an amazing season Zach Allen has had. His availability is there. DJ Jones was a full participant with that ankle back at practice today. We need another big game from him. It's pivotal, George. The Broncos make Josh Jacobs the priority on this offense. Aside from Josh Jacobs, there's not a lot of threats, at least to me, in terms of the Green Bay offense. Tight end is something that continues to kill the Broncos every single week. So it's less of they have a solid guy in Croft, whatever the young guy's name is, right out of SDSU. But it's more of Vance Joseph and the linebackers. How do they cover the tight end? So running back and tight end, definitely a priority. George is onto something there.
Well, I'll say that Surtain did a great job on Bowers. When they put Barron or Surtain on the tight ends, that they do a great job. But you're right. You don't want Singleton out there covering a tight end for sure. But for me, it's the tale of kind of two defenses. There's been games where the Broncos have missed tackles. They had somebody, in their grasp for a loss and they let him go. And that hasn't happened a ton, but I've seen a few games like that. That cannot happen against Josh Jacobs. They have got to, like you said, wrap up, no extra effort yards after contact, wrap them up. He'll get some of his yards, but don't give him the freebies. And that's the big thing for me is I don't want to see that missed tackle team show up against the Packers.
Yeah, he averages about 4 yards a carry, 817 rushing yards on the season, 12 total touchdowns on the ground, man. That's third most out of any running back this season. And you referenced the Colts game. What was that, their last loss back in week 2? No, excuse me, their first loss back in week 2.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, the only running back to post over 100 yards. I think he actually got close to like 160 or 170, or maybe those were all-purpose yards, but he put on a running clinic. And I think Sean went to VJ right away. It was like, no more. Whatever we got to do, let's sell out. Let's stop the run. That is not going to be the tale of the Denver Broncos this year. And listen, Micah Parsons, Matt LaFleur talking about holding, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen. These guys get held every single game. What is holding, right? It's kind of like what is a catch? It's going to happen. But I think this is going to be so far, Tom, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the biggest threat that the Denver Broncos have faced in their schedule this year. It's not just because they're the next one. I think the Green Bay Packers are coming in here with a lot of momentum. I think the Denver Broncos are feeling good playing at home. I sure hope Denver is up for this game. I don't want them overlooking the Green Bay Packers. It feels like guys are checked in mentally. It feels like Sean has everybody on the same page for now, but do you think there's any possibility that the Broncos are coming in here thinking, man, we got this one on lock? We're the Denver Broncos. We're 11-2, 10-game win streak, undefeated at home. Surely we can't get got, right?
I don't think of anyone on their schedule it's going to be the Packers that they overlook. It's funny, the only one that they should overlook are the Chiefs at 6-7 right now. But I think after the Giants game, even though they won that, I think that was the kind of wake up call to be like, we need to make sure we're on, because they were getting embarrassed for 3 quarters. And I think since then you've seen a Broncos team that has made mistakes, mental errors like they have all year, but you haven't seen a Broncos team that was just being flat out completely outplayed that badly since that point. So I don't think they're going to overlook the Packers. I don't know why they would. 9-3-1. They're shooting for, they're trying to get that number 1 seed. I think the Broncos know that they're coming into play. I think they'll be ready.
I got one for you. I got a couple reasons for you. Let's pivot and look at the injury report for Green Bay just a little bit. I'm looking at 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 guys, 14 guys on there. Josh Jacobs, the only one that did not practice today. Maybe it's a vet day, officially listed with a knee. Don't know how long that knee injury's been going on. Maybe that's a nagging thing. Maybe it's been something that they've been managing. Hard to say, right? Total speculation on my end. But you look at the rest of them, man. Limited. You've got like 13 guys limited, and Jordan Love popped up on the injury report today also. He was a full participant with a left shoulder injury. Broncos are looking good, man, with their 4 guys on the injury report. And again, We're happy to report Ben Powers limited at practice with those biceps injuries. Nate Atkins also limited with a knee, returning to practice. DJ Jones, welcome back, full participant with an ankle. Here's one that was a little odd, Tom. Pat Bryant, wide receiver, our rookie young guy with a hamstring injury. It did look like Mike Kliss was saying that was an injury that he worked through during the Las Vegas Raiders game. I've loved watching Pat Bryant play this rookie season. I'm pining for more reps, for more targets. It's a little bit of a bummer that he didn't practice with the hamstring, but I guess something that could make you feel better. Marvin Mims, special teams player of the week. How about that? Maybe get some more looks at wide receiver too. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, Pat Bryant's taken Troy Franklin's spot lately. He has been outplaying Franklin. Franklin had a stretch early on that he looked really good, but he has since dropped off. He's dropped off by dropping passes and the same kind of thing that was haunting him in his rookie season. Now, it's not nearly as bad. I don't want to paint a bleak picture, but Pat Bryant is, if you look at targets and you look at plays that they've played, he is actually starting to eat away at Troy Franklin's job. So they like Pat Bryant. They're going to keep feeding him more and more. I like what I see. He can go out. He can do everything out there on the field. He can pass block. He's a reliable pass catcher. He's a good route runner. I don't see why they wouldn't want to keep giving him more and more snaps. So I'm really looking forward to his future. I was a little bit worried about some of the things that I saw when he didn't show up for big games in college, but from right now, from what I'm seeing, that doesn't matter. He's been showing up in the biggest stage as a rookie, and I think his future's bright.
I think there's some truth to that. I wanted to push back, but there's a lot to it when you look at the targets, like you say, when you look at the opportunities, when you're charting it down. It's tough. And why do you bring Lil Jordan Humphrey in if you're totally content, right? I mean, seriously, why? What? Just have to have him, right? Like, I don't know. Marvin Mims, congratulations. We finally showed up this last week against the Raiders. I'm a little bitter, man, just because I would have loved to see some of these bigger plays a lot earlier. Maybe he's peaking at the right time, and I'm just being grouchy about the whole damn thing. I don't know, Tom. It does feel like Pat Bryant is the heir apparent to Courtland Sutton. So I would disagree with you a little bit that I don't think there's a spot for both guys, Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant. But you're saying right now, right? It's about earning reps right now on an 11-2 team, not 2 years down the road when you look at maybe Pat Bryant being your solid X. I think the Broncos and Sean Payton hope that Troy Franklin can be an Emmanuel Sanders-esque player. The problem with that is those hands. And it was something that we knew coming out of Oregon was a little bit of an issue for Troy Franklin. It's not to dog on the guy, right? He's the second leader on the team in terms of the wide receiver room, but it's just really, really tough when you look at who do you want to share the ball to, because we know it's not going to be Evan Ingram. I mean, we're having a sighting on Sunday Night Football in Washington 2 weeks ago and nothing since. I mean, previewing just a little bit, it's time to go to Old Reliable. You can read about it at milehighhuddle.com and my keys to victory tomorrow, Courtland Sutton in this game against the Green Bay Packers. It's a coming out party for number 14. I need big numbers.
Yeah, I hope so, because he's kind of been he has disappeared mostly over the last few games. I mean, he made some big catches a few times, but when I saw his season starting, had his first few games, I was like, this is going to be the best Courtland Sutton season that we've seen from him. And then he just kind of disappeared. I don't even know if he's going to hit that 1,000-yard mark now. Like, I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, what happened to Courtland Sutton? Is it the offense? Is it the other receivers just taking more of his plays? What is it? But yeah, he needs to come up big in this game to kind of get back in the groove like he had earlier in the season.
When you know they want to go to him, Sean's talking about it, at least in the little like cut-ups that we're seeing right now. Bo and Courtland and Sean before the game, and Sean saying something like, "Hey, Court, sometimes we always want to get you the ball early," you know, and Courtland's looking at him like, "That doesn't make sense, coach," you know, or something like that. And Bo's like, "Ha, got him." And Sean still had the little twinkle in his eye. You can tell these guys are competitive. You can tell that they like to get after coach because they probably can't get after him that much, especially right before the game, right? It's cool to see just a little glimpse behind the curtain of some of that connectivity. And speaking of connectivity, the boss is coming in at Chad Jensen. What's up, Chad? Appreciate the support, man, over on YouTube. Who's the 2026 free agent the Broncos cannot afford to lose? MHI till I die. Well, you could read about it over at milehighhuddle.com. I took a gander about 6 hours ago. Tom, who's one guy that for you the Broncos just can't let slip away?
Well, when you look at unrestricted free agents, those that really have a real chance of losing, there isn't one in my mind that you cannot afford to lose. I like Jonathan Franklin Myers coming back. I don't think they're going to bring him back. I think they like Wazirike, and I think they hope that Savion Jones can take a next step. But, I mean, they've only given him 6 snaps, I think, all year on defense, so that's hard to evaluate. But when I think about if I think about all of the free agents, you know, the ones that could leave restricted free agents, I'm really liking McMillan. Jaquan McMillan has played very, very good this year, and I know they went out and got Jahdae Barron. I know that they can lose him if they want, but I think they like him, and I think they're going to try and keep him with a decent tender on that restricted free agent, this offseason, so that they can keep him around another year and have a very formidable cornerback rotation. But other than that, I mean, I like Palczewski. You know, I love Palczewski. He can be gone. I don't see someone that they absolutely cannot afford to lose.
You know, this isn't my first name, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Alex Singleton, I think he's coming up, right? You got to figure out what you want to do with Alex Singleton at age 32. Can you let the Adam Troutmans of the world go? Sure. Who do you have to supplant him? I would love to say Evan Ingram, but he's just not doing very well in his first year with the Broncos. Continues to be an underwhelming player wherever he goes, right? New York, Jacksonville, now Denver. Maybe he's saving it for the playoffs. I don't know, Tom. Maybe playoff Evan Ingram. I'm so sick of writing about Evan Ingram, talking about Evan Ingram. Sometimes I honestly forget he's on the field at all. And I'm not sure why he is. And I think he's going to start seeing some less reps here, because if you're telling me we got to block guys like Chris Jones late into the season, George Karlaftis, Micah Parsons this week, yeah, I would rather have old ass Mercedes Lewis in there at 100 to at least get in the way, instead of just Evan Ingram sort of getting open and dropping a pass, or having one big flash in the pan moment on Sunday Night Football. It's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating, because I feel like some guys, you want them to peak at the same time. You want this team to peak at the right time. And so far, so good this early into December. But yeah. I just look at what could be, and I fear that we're running out of time.
Yeah, and they have to address the linebacker position. I know they went out and got Dre Greenlaw, but you can't afford to pay Alex Singleton again at 32 years old after a knee injury. You can't do it. Sternad's looked pretty good, but he's going to be 30 years old as well. Do you really want to pay a decent amount of money for really a special teams player who's had a couple decent seasons? Not great. I think they have to address it some other way. I think they need to go out in free agency and get a really solid linebacker, or really invest kind of an earlier round pick, maybe not a first rounder unless it falls on a linebacker, because they can't keep kicking the can down the road on that. And you're right about tight end too. I mean, they've got to address that as well. They have not addressed it. They should have done it in this last draft when they had the opportunity. They passed up on it, and they're going to have to invest in that as well. And you're right. It's not Evan Ingram. He's just not the guy that we thought he could be.
No, and you look at the tight end room in general. I mean, Adam Troutman's set to be a UFA. Lucas Kroll is set to be a UFA. Your guy Alex Palczewski too, right? I mean, I think maybe they try to get something done with him. I would love to see that. Now, I have no qualms about that at all. But who do you have in the cooker behind these guys developing? That's a concern too. I mean, I feel like linebacker and tight end, running back has also been another one that sure, you go ahead and you draft RJ Harvey this last year with a premium round draft pick, but can we just afford to say bye-bye to J.K. Dobbins after what he did for the Broncos this season? A huge part of their success, although he's always banged up, right? That's why. That's the double-edged sword there, Tom. I mean, you talked about it on these airwaves when he was signed. So did I. Man, that's cool, but I hope he could stay healthy. And I even remember saying maybe the rookie gets the majority of the carries early, and then all of a sudden you see JK, who's fresh in December. It didn't quite work out that way.
And that's the problem is, and we talked about that plenty of times, they rode J.K. Dobbins because they had to. And that's what he got injured. He's injury prone. You can't, the only way you bring him back is if you know for sure Harvey is going to get the majority of the snaps. J.K. Dobbins is going to be your third down back and your back that spells Harvey. You don't, otherwise, you can't pay him big money to do that. And I'm not trying to, I thought he was a great signing. He was the biggest part of the offense for a long time, but you cannot rely on somebody that cannot be on the field. And that's his problem. Just like Drew Sanders. I would love to see Drew Sanders out there and brought back and everything else, but he's unreliable too. You cannot, when somebody's injury prone like that, you can't invest money in him. That's why I say Dobbins is going to go unless he comes back on a super cheap deal, knowing that he's just going to play a much smaller role in this offense.
Yeah, and Jaleel McLaughlin, right? I mean, you want to bring him back? Tyler Burdett? No, like you got to find something else, and it's a damn shame, right? There's not a lot to go to in terms of the bench right now. At least that's how we feel on this show. Maybe Sean feels entirely different. Maybe other media outlets. I don't know. It's what we do here on MHI. We give it to you raw, right? Michael Ronquillo coming in here, an exclusive member of the MHH community. Good evening, Thomas and Luke on the Mile High Insiders. Go Bows Broncos. Yeah, man, let's talk about the quarterback a little bit. I know I mentioned it earlier. What do you make of this Phillip Rivers stuff with the Indianapolis Colts, man? I mean, a Hall of Fame finalist, Tom, and then all of a sudden he's on the practice squad. They're wondering if he's going to get some game time action with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know what to make of this whole thing other than I love watching Cam Newton fall apart over it all, being like, it's so disrespectful, right? Doing his best Stephen A. Smith impersonation. I love it, man. Welcome back to the league, Phillip Rivers. Can't stay home with all those kids.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's why he's got too many kids. So he's like, I got to get out of here. But you got to think about it. If he is in the Hall of Fame pool right now. And that means he had to have been 5 years removed from playing. That's the window. So he hasn't played since 2020 or 2021. I mean, that's amazing. But the funny thing that I heard was that he and Steichen, the coach for the Colts, have been like really close, and he's running his offense in his high school team. Philip Rivers is, and they communicate. So he's got like familiarity with the offense already, just because he has, he has been really close with Steichen. So that's interesting. But man, you're rolling him out with a walker at this point. God, the guy should not be coming back.
Well, just to tee it up, right? Broncos country, you known him, you've loathed him. He's back. Philip Rivers, quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts.
All right. No Zoom. Let's go.
First of all, welcome back to Indy face-to-face. But two questions just kind of jump out is, why do you want to do this, and why do you think you can do this?
Yeah, that could be a long one. I'll try to keep it as simple. I've tried to make this as simple as I can. I'll try not to get emotional, actually, you asking that. As simple as can be is a coach that I love and an organization that I really enjoyed being with.
Why is he crying? I mean, it took me everything not to interrupt it. Why are we crying, Phil? I
don't know.
Are the kids that bad? Did I read that he has a granddaughter, a grandchild? Is it that bad? His life at home? Why are we crying?
Maybe he's been having consulting sessions with Dick Vermeil. Maybe that they've been talking back and forth a lot, getting him prepared for this comeback, and so he's getting a little misty.
No, it's weird, man, because I was listening to Mark Schlereth on his podcast earlier today, and he was talking about this, and he said he's friends with the defensive coordinator in the league, obviously off the record, who said literally the talent pool of arm strength for free agent quarterbacks, it's there, but being able to put together managing a game and knowing what to do and the components of it's not there. This is the first time in the league that the NFL is in the history of the league in a long time, rather, that the NFL is experiencing this. Why is Joe Flacco going and asking for a release, right, to play on his 7th team in 1 year? I mean, it's that crazy that we've got Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, Philip Rivers is back. What's Tom Brady thinking right now, Tom? It's time to suit up for the silver and black, baby.
Yeah, it is. It is mind-boggling. I mean, at least Joe Flacco has been playing. Philip Rivers has not played a single snap in the NFL long enough for him to be in the Hall of Fame finals. Now. And the funny thing is, now that he's signed, he goes back. He's got to wait another 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame. So he might have been on the cusp of getting in there. Now he's like, oh, another 5 years away. Which is just strange to me.
But maybe that's just it. Philip Rivers doesn't look at things in terms of seasons or years like I do. He probably looks at them in terms of kids, right? 9-month increments is probably it for Philip Rivers when he looks at how he manages time. I don't know, man. It's great that we don't have to have that quarterback conversation here in Denver anymore. It's great that, we can lob some of those stones because I'm happy with Bo Nix right now. Well, Tom, what's not to be happy about? Does he make every single decision that's correct? No. Does he make every throw? Does he have mistakes, turnovers? Yes. Who doesn't? But it's such a rare time right now in Broncos. 11 wins, first place in the AFC. The pressure's on them now. They've been the underdog for a long time. I know they're the underdog this week. It makes no sense. 2.5 home underdog favorites against the Packers, despite a 10-game win streak, despite 10-plus game winning streak at home. It's never happened in the league, Tom. So I don't really care if they get the respect they deserve nationally. I do wonder, do they feel that they've arrived? Do the Broncos feel that they are at the top of the hill right now, or do they know there's still a climb to go? It would be a damn shame to see them spoil this 11-2 record, lose first place in the AFC, and 3 weeks later, we're still having a conversation about the LA Chargers in the AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if I were in their shoes, I would feel like they have arrived. I would feel like we have arrived. We are a good football team. We're the number one seed right now. We are in control of the AFC, but at the same time, they haven't won anything. They haven't won a playoff game, so they should still be hungry. So it's a fine line to think sitting back on your laurels saying, we're so good, we can do it. I mean, the Broncos in 1988 could do no wrong. I mean, they're the team that could sit back and be like, yeah, we're the best and we know it. And we've already been there. We've already won. We're going to walk through this AFC. And they did. I don't think that the 2025 Broncos can do that yet. Now, if they go on and win 3 of the next 4, they better be saying that. They better be sitting there saying we are the best team and we know it and we're going to steamroll everybody in the playoffs. That's my thoughts on it.
Well, and that's not bad, Tom. I mean, it's their final NFC opponent of the year, right? You've got 2 home games back to 3 out of your next 4 are home games. And talk about having home field advantage, talk about Mile High Magic, whatever we have to say, it's special professional football right now in Broncos country in Denver, Colorado. It's, dare I say, intimidating for an opponent to come in and have such a raucous crowd. And that's the thing. We know Green Bay, they travel well. The Cheeseheads are going to be there. But things are a little bit different now than they were 2 years ago. Things have changed. And I do wonder, like you, Tom, are the Broncos feeling themselves just a bit? Because if they did, is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with having confidence? Nobody's had confidence in you. I'm sure they've surprised themselves over the year a little bit. If you caught one of them in a dark room and had a few cold pops and you're like, hey, really? Did you guys see a 10-game win streak coming? You'd probably finally get a couple of honest answers. But this is a team that's battle tested. They don't roll over on each other. And I love seeing it right now. It feels like the polar opposite compared to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm seeing this look of disgust on Patrick Mahomes' face. I'm seeing Travis Kelce in his little hissy fits that he's had his whole career. I'm seeing Andy Reid with a WTF moment. And it feels like the world is completely upside down now that the Chiefs are at the bottom and the Broncos are surging to the top, Tom.
Well, think about it. I mean, they're sitting with 11 games with 4 left to go, which already 11 games puts them tied to be in the top 15 of the best Broncos of all teams of all time. And they still got 4 games left. They have a potential. I mean, see, if they win out, they can win. They'll have the most wins ever. But they have a potential to be very close to having the most wins of any, or at least tied of any team in Broncos history. They should be feeling good. I don't know why they wouldn't. And I don't quite understand the negativity from everyone else around, outside the Broncos organization. I mean, this is a good football team that's winning games. And you look at that, it's like, yeah, it's not a lot of flash and they've been close ones, but it doesn't matter. They're winning. And that's what's important. So I think they should take some time to kind of reflect on what they've done so far, but still be focused on this next game and say, this is a Packers game. We're going to go out there and we need to win this one and then worry about the rest of the season after that.
Well, could it be Sean Payton, right? And some of his expectations that he talked about last summer. I'm going to do a hit this Friday on Sioux Falls. And the last time I talked to them, right, a lot of Green Bay Packers fans up there in Sioux Falls and Rapid City and that sort of area of the country. Last time I talked to them, they're like, Luke, Sean Payton, Super Bowl expectations. This is going to be a special team, huh? Well, guess who's going back around the corner here this week? And I'm like, yeah, man, they say what you want about them. They have believed in themselves, even when not all of us have. And I know, Tom, while I was excited to hear Super Bowl expectations last summer, it was also kind of met with some tongue in cheek where it's like, really? There's still a lot of concerns here. I don't know. We got to see a little bit before we get there. Yeah. I think we're still there. Broncos country is eyeing a deep push into the playoffs, but they cannot overlook the Green Bay Packers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Los Angeles Chargers. You're right, Tom. The goal shouldn't be to rest during the last game of the year. The goal should be to win the AFC and rest during the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, I can't remember the exact stat, but the number 1 seeds since they went to the 7 playoff team format, I think more than 50% of the teams that were the number 1 seed made it to the Super Bowl. So that's a huge advantage because you've got all these other teams playing each other. Injuries happen while you're sitting back and resting. It's not like they used to have two teams on buys. Now it's one team. You get that number 1 seed. You get a good rest. You're ready to go for that next week. And it's not like you're resting your starters for 3 weeks and doing something stupid like has happened in the past, and then you come out all flat. It's just a bye week. So just a bye week to get ready. So I think it's important. I think even if they're the number 2 seed and New England is the number 1 seed, I don't think that the Broncos will be playing on the road if they can, in the AFC Championship game.
Well, who do the Patriots have? The Bills this weekend.
Patriots have an easy schedule the rest of the way. They've had a very easy schedule. They've got the Bills, then they got the Dolphins at one point, the Jets, and somebody else that's got a losing record. I think the Bills
Ravens. They got Baltimore. And it's in Baltimore, though. That I don't know, man. Those games can go. And what's going on in Buffalo, by the way, as we get to our 2-minute warning. Buffalo Bills, what's going on with Sean McDermott? How long is Sean McDermott going to be the head coach up there in Buffalo, man? I know that the Bills are always in playoff contention, at least lately, the last few years, but a lot of teams are starting to wonder if they can get over the hump with their head coach. Do you anticipate a head coaching change in Buffalo, or is it just me?
I think if they're they don't go deep in the playoffs again, I think you'll see a change. If they maybe lose in the first round, or they get bumped early, I think they're going to make a change. And I think Sean McDermott's a good coach. I think he's done a great job with the Bills. I mean, they were terrible for so long, and he has turned that program around. He has had them in the playoffs. They've worked wonders with Josh Allen being patient and making sure he developed, but he just cannot get them over the hump with you. When you have an MVP caliber quarterback, he cannot get them over the hump. I think they make a change. I don't know if it's a smart change, but I just think they do if they get bumped early.
Maybe Sean McDermott becomes the defensive coordinator of your Denver Broncos when Vance Joseph takes a head coaching job after the Broncos win the whole damn enchilada this year. I don't know.
That's interesting, man. It's funny. I was thinking about where Vance Joseph could go. Like if Vance Joseph was going to take the job that gave him the most opportunity of the openings that we know that's going to happen. I was kind of kicking it around, and I thought, you know what? The Titans is a job that he might think about taking. One, because he's not going to have the pick of the litter because everyone's going after offensive minds, but they might give him a shot because I think they lament that they let Vrabel go and he's off doing something great with New England, and they had an offensive coach that flopped. But they're going to have number 1 pick. They've got Cam Ward, who was a number 1 pick. Hopefully he can turn it around. And they got tons of cap space. If I was Vance Joseph, I'd be vying for that job. That gives them the best opportunity to win and hopefully not be one of those 2-time loser coaches that we see happen constantly.
Yeah, well, and it makes you wonder what the future is in Las Vegas with Pete Carroll, right? Reports are saying Tom Brady's not happy. All kinds of things are in flux. Their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, went bye-bye after Thursday Night Football here in Denver a few weeks ago. It's crazy, man. It must be December football here in the NFL where we are not having conversations about Sean Payton being in jeopardy. We are not having conversations about is Bo Nix the franchise quarterback. We are, however, talking about the Broncos' 10-game win streak, being undefeated at home, 11-2, first place in the division, first place in the AFC West. It's a big one this week, folks. Denver Broncos welcome the Green Bay Packers. The Broncos are 2.5 home underdogs against Green Bay. The first time in the modern Super Bowl era that a team with a 10-game win streak, 10-plus game win streak at home is an underdog. Maybe that's the bulletin board material that Sean Payton needs for these Green Bay Packers.
I hope so. I hope he can get them up because what I still want to see from this team, and I hope it starts now, is I want to see less mental mistakes. Again, I keep saying about that, and I want to see more takeaways. If those two things happen going into the playoffs, if they get on that kind of a roll where they're playing sound football, they're taking the ball away, then this team is the team to beat. I don't care what their past opponents were or not. If those two things happen, that'll put it all together. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, Sean must have been reading my keys to victory last week because he nailed the time of possession one. And it's no accident. I talked about it with Chad. I'm like, it's no accident when you look at their wins and you look at their average time of possession and when they've lost games or when they've barely snuck it out, just one in Houston, and they didn't win the time of possession battle. It's there. But I'll take you through it tomorrow. My keys to victory over at milehighhuddle.com. I'll take you through the three-headed monster that is Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, and Micah Parsons. We'll let you know the best way the Denver Broncos can continue this win streak. 11 games, man. How fun would that be? An 11-game win streak. Should be beautiful in the Mile High City this Sunday for some Broncos football. I hope everyone drowns out that green and yellow, as much orange and blue that we can muster in the Mile High City. It's been a fun show. Tom, Scott, I appreciate you guys so much. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Follow our pod at MHI_pod. Go ahead and get at the mothership as well, milehighhuddle.com, where you can read all of the Broncos' latest. Tom, good job, buddy. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, and thanks for doing it while you're not feeling well, man. You're a trooper, so I appreciate it. But no, this has been great. I have enjoyed this show. It's so much better to be sitting here talking about playoff chances than who they're going to draft to try and turn this team around. It's been nice to have that sort of conversation in Denver.
Yeah, man. Santa Claus come early here in Broncos country. 11-2, first place in the AFC, about to beat the Cheeseheads. Broncos country. This is the way.
This is the way.